I'm going to be working on math, day 34. This is your worksheet from the math lesson. However, this is the only thing I need you to do. I don't need you to worry about doing any of the other pieces of the lesson. You're going to do this in your journal as I'm doing it with you so that you have something to go by, because you have 3 practice questions that are at the end of this lesson that you are going to have to answer and submit. So let me start. Let me start by explaining what we're doing today. Today we're multiplying 2-digit by 3-digit and 2-digit by 2-digit numbers. We are going to use the second method that I taught you 2 days ago. We're going to use that method. The first thing they're wanting us to do is to simply multiply. And then we're going to check our answers, and I'm going to show you a quick way to get an idea if your answer makes sense or not. Okay? So we're going to start with number 17. So in your journal, you're going to want to put the date, which is 10/29/20. Then you're going to want to put day 34. And you're going to want to start with number 17. Alright, so I'm just going to go through and multiply these, and I will probably go pretty fast. But the good thing is you have this on video, so you can back it up and watch it again if you don't get it down as quickly as I'm doing it. Alright, so we are going to start. We remember that we are letting the numbers play together, is the way that we put it the other day. We're letting the numbers take turns. Okay, so remember we said that 8 has not shown up yet. So the numbers are going to play with 6 first. So 1 is going to play with 6, and then 6 is going to play with 6. Because remember, we're not dealing with 8 yet because he hasn't shown up. So 1 times 6 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. And remember, I always told you to put the 0 here. Don't forget to do that. Now 8 is here, and 6 is done. So we are going to multiply 1 times 8. We are going to get 8. We are going to multiply 6 times 8, and we're going to get 48. And then all we have to do now is add these together. That's the easy part. So 6 plus 0 is 6. 6 plus 8 is 14. 8 plus 3 is 11, and 1 more is 12. 4 plus 1 is 5. Make sure that you get that written in your journal, just like I did it. Now I'm moving on to number 18. Remember, we are going to multiply all the numbers times 2 first, and then we're going to multiply all the numbers by 6. 6 hasn't shown up yet, so we're just multiplying times 2 right now. So we have 2 times 2 is 4. 7 times 2 is 14. 8 times 2, 16 plus 1 more is 17. Then remember your 0. Now we're going to multiply times 6. 6 has shown up for the play date now. 2 times 6 is 12. 7 times 6, 42 plus 1 more, 43. And 8 times 6 is 48 plus 4 more makes 52. Now we're going to add all those together. 4 plus 0 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. 7 plus 3 is 10. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 more, it makes 4. And we don't have anything to add the 5 to. So we have 54,064. Okay? All right, last one, number 19. Same way. All the numbers play with 9 first. 4 is not there yet. All right, 9 times 9 is 81. 0 times 9 is 0, because anything times 0 is 0. So we just have 8. 7 times 9 is 63. All right, 9 times 4, don't forget to put your 0 there. 9 times 4, 36. I'm going to cross out that 8 so it won't bother me. 0 times 4 is 0, which means it's only 3. 7 times 4 is 28. Now we're going to add. 8 plus 6 is 14. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 8 plus 6 is 14. And 2 plus 1 is 3. All right, please get these written down in your journal. And I'm going to show you how we can check our work. A quick way to check and see if our answers make sense. It doesn't check them exactly, but you will be able to tell if your answer makes sense. All right. Look at the bottom of my page here. These are the exact same problems as these. We have 61 times 86 and 61 times 86. Down here, we are going to estimate our answers by rounding each number to its greatest place value. So if I round 60 to its greatest place value, I'm rounding it to the tens. So if I round 61 to the nearest 10, then it will round to 60 because 1 is less than 4. Remember, 4 or less, let it rest. I let the 6 rest. All right, 86 rounded to the nearest 10. 5 or more raised the score. So 6 is 5 or more, isn't it? So we're going to raise the score. That means we're going to raise our 8 to a 9. And if we multiply 60 times 90, remember I like to ignore those zeros, and I like to multiply the easy numbers. 9 times 6 is 54. And then remember, I have 2 zeros I have to add on to the end. Okay? If I estimate, the way that I estimate the product is I'm rounding the numbers to their greatest place value. This is my estimate. Is 5,400 close to 5,246? It is. So 5,246 is a reasonable answer. Okay? It makes sense. Now if my answer up here were like 8,900, then that's nowhere near 5,400. So I would have to go back and I would have to redo my calculation here to see what my problem was. Okay? So now let's check this one. Rounding to the greatest place value, which in this case is the hundreds. Okay? 7 is 5 or more. 5 or more raised the score. So that's going to turn into 900. 4 or less, let it rest. The 6 is going to rest. 9 times 6, again. Let me write it again down here. 9 times 6 again is 54. And then this time I have 1, 2, 3 zeros to put. Is 54,000 close to 54,064? It sure is. So this answer makes sense. So more than likely I have it correct. All right, let's do the last one. We're going to round to the greatest place value, which in this case is the hundreds. We're going to look to the right and see that we have a 0. 4 or less, let it rest. So I can let my 7 rest. So he becomes 700. The greatest place value here is the tens. 9 is 5 or more. 5 or more raise the score. So your 4's got to become a 5. So what you're doing is you're multiplying 700 times 50, and you're going to get 3,500, because 7 times 5 is 35, plus I'm going to add 3 zeros. My mistake. All right, 35,000. Is 35,000 close to 34,741? Yes, it is. So this makes sense as my answer. So I probably got that correct. All right, so if any time during that you need to pause, stop, whatever, so that you can get this written down in your journal, please do that. Okay? All right. Now we have 4 more problems. So I'm going to turn this over on the back. And what we're going to do this time, let me make sure you can see that. All right, what we're going to do this time, doing the same thing, we are going to multiply first, and then we're going to kind of check it to see if it's close enough to be the correct answer by estimating. We're going to round each number to the greatest place value and estimate. So the first thing we're going to do is multiply outright, okay? So let's multiply 48 times 21. We have to let the 8 and the 4 both play with 1. 2 has not shown up for the play date yet. 8 times 1 is 8, and 4 times 1 is 4. Now 1 is done, okay? Now 2 has shown up for the game, and we have to multiply both of these numbers times 2. Please remember to put your 0. If you don't, you will get your answer wrong every time. 8 times 2 is 16. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And then you add these together, and you are going to get 1,008. Okay? Now, let's see if that is a reasonable answer. And to do that, we're going to round to the greatest place value. So, that would be the tens place in this case and in this case. 8 is 5 or more, so 5 or more raise the score. That's going to be 50. 4 or less, let it rest. That's going to be a 2, because we have to let the 2 rest. All right. Ignore the zeros for right now. 5 times 2 is 10. Now you can add your extra 2 zeros there, and you get 1,000. 1,000 is close to 1,008, so more than likely I have the correct answer because it makes sense. It's close enough to my estimated value. Let's try another one. We're going to multiply 196 times 34. 6 times 4, remember we have to multiply all 3 numbers times 4, because 3, we're going to pretend he hasn't shown up yet. 6 times 4 is 24. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 2 is 38. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. Don't forget your 0. Now we're going to multiply by the 3. 3 has shown up. Now all of these numbers have to play with 3 to be fair. So 6 times 3 is going to be 18. You can put your 1 up top. You can cross out that 2 so he doesn't confuse you. 9 times 3, 27, plus 1 more. That's 28. You can cross out that 3 so he doesn't confuse you. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 more is 5. Let's add these together. We got 16. That's 16 again. That's 6. Okay. Now let's check it and see if we're close, if our answer is reasonable. All right. We're going to round 196 to the greatest place value. The greatest place value is hundreds. So we're looking over here at the 9, and we see that 9 is 5 or more. So we're going to raise the score. We're going to raise the 1 to a 2. Okay, 34. 4 or less, let it rest. So 3 is going to rest. We're going to ignore the zeros. 2 times 3 is 6 plus the 3 zeros. Is this one close to this one? Pretty much. So this answer makes sense. Okay? All right, 2 more. 608 times 73. My pen's not wanting to write. Okay. Eight times 3 is 24. We have to multiply everything times 3 first because 7 hasn't shown up for the game yet. 0 times 3 is 0 plus 2 is 2. 6 times 3 is 18. Don't forget your 0 down there on the bottom. 8 times 7 is going to be 56. We're multiplying times 7 now because 7 just showed up. And all 3 of these numbers have to multiply times 7. All right, 8 times 7 is 56. Get rid of that 2. Okay, put your 5. The 5 goes up there over the 0. 0 times 7 is 0. And 0 plus 5 is 5. 6 times 7, 42. All right, let's add these up. 4. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. And then 4. So we get 44,384. Now let's see if that makes sense. All right, we're going to round this number to the nearest 100 because that's our greatest place value. And it's going to be 600. The greatest place value here in 73 is in the tens place. So 3 is 4 or less, so we got to let 7 rest. All right, we're going to multiply these. 6 times 7 is 42, and then your 3 zeros. And that's close to 44,000, so I think we're good. All right, last one. 721 times 54. Okay? All of 3 of these numbers have to multiply times 4. 5 is not shown up yet. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 7 times 4 is 28. Don't forget your 0. Now we can multiply times 5 because he just showed up. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 7 times 5 is 35 plus 1 more is 36. Add these together. You have 4, 13, 9. I don't have my numbers lined up very well, do I? 6 plus 2 is 8. Did not line my numbers up very well. So it's 38,934. Now we're going to round these numbers and we're going to estimate a product and hope that it is close to this. So 721 rounded to the nearest place value, which is going to be your hundreds. The 2 is 4 or less, so we let the 7 rest. 54, 4 or less, let it rest. So we're going to let the 5 rest. 7 times 5 is 35. And then you have 3 zeros. You have 35,000, which is close to 38,000, which means your answer makes sense. Okay? Now, these don't tell you if your answer is exactly correct. It just tells you if your answer makes sense. It's close. Okay? So you know that it is close. It's reasonable, is what they say. Okay? Now, you have, at the very bottom of this lesson plan, you have 3 practice questions. And I looked at them earlier, and I'm thinking that they are all like this, okay? They are asking you to round the numbers and then estimate. None of the 3 are asking you to multiply exactly. They're just asking you to round the numbers and estimate. So it shouldn't be a big problem. So once you have copied all this into your journal, you can use it as a guide to help you with the 3 questions that are at the end of your lesson plan. Good luck!